Welcome, I'm David.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Desmond Rose.
Well, solutions, it says. That's what the title says. I was asked to give my solutions to some of the things I've been talking about recently. And one of the things is that the battery might run out, so I might have to do it again. Okay, so what have I been talking about recently? National health. And rubbish. And I'm going to throw in the BBC, but we'll get to that. So first, the national health, to my mind, this is easy. And the thing they need to do, get rid of all the managers and replace with fewer leaders. That's what they need. And I don't know what's going on with my camera, but it's flashing all sorts of things at me. Anyway, so the NHS one is easy. They need to get rid of all managers, put in place leaders, and back the adminers to do their job. Not the doctors' jobs, not the nurses' jobs, their job. There. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Unfortunately, we all know that ain't going to happen. Yeah. So, next we go with the rubbish. Now, I did mention a possible solution, but that involves hardware working, etc., etc. But there's one piece of software always works, and that is the scanner, the till, whatever, that they charge you for what you're paying, for what you're buying. So they use that along with some sort of barcode on the packaging. Now, the packaging is all pretty similar, but it could be given a unique serial number. That serial number goes against the payee's details. That then can be used when the rubbish is found, they scan it, and the payee is liable for that. Alternatively, they could give the registration vehicle of the number they're in at the drive-through, and that is entered against the details, so that when the payee says, oh, it wasn't me, it was Joe Bloggs driving, Joe Bloggs gets a bill for clearing up the mess. Simple and probably effective. Doesn't need any extra equipment, and the software, unfortunately, is probably already there. Yes, we are being tracked. So there's the advantage of not doing paying by card or whatever. Pay by cash, and guess what? They've tracked you by your phone, by your registration number as you drove through anyway. So, but if you paid with cash, you then have the option of throwing your rubbish away. That's ridiculous, isn't it? I found a way round what I'm doing. But I found a way round where we control it. There are hundreds of different ways of doing it. Other countries manage it. We should. Here's my solution, finally, to the BBC. It's straightforward, no messing, easily implemented. Stop them from paying outrageous wages to so-called celebrities. I'm listening to the T20 World Cup at the moment. Yeah, I know, I'm cricket daft, but that's by the by. The problem is that I know more about the game than the people commentating, who are getting paid a whack of money. In fact, the better feed is the ICC feed, rather than the BBC feed for it. Radio, not TV. I don't know who's got the rights for it, but you don't see cricket on the BBC these days, do you? Yeah, so it's probably Sky. Where was I? So what do we do about it? They're paying extortionate money for lesser talent, because the money's all with the companies like Sky, who've got big commercial backers, run adverts, and charge a fee. Sounds like a scheme. For those that don't know, by the way, the television licence fee came in to offset the cost of the infrastructure that the BBC, as the sole broadcaster, had at the time for putting in television masts to broadcast the signal to you, and the radio license for the same kind of thing. Of course, they were paying a license to Ofcom, well, it wasn't Ofcom then, was it? But paying a license to the authorities, the radio authority, for the bandwidth, for the airwaves. They pass that on now by charging the other TV people to use their infrastructure. So they'll be renting out space and masts and frequencies to them, and charging us for the pleasure. Now, none of that infrastructure, for example, the Radio 4 infrastructure, Radio 4 long wave, is disappearing eventually because they won't pay for a new valve for the transmitter. Yeah, well, if they bring back licence fees for radio, they better buy a new valve, I tell you. And put the bloody cricket back on there. The answer is straightforward. Make the BBC no longer a public broadcaster. Put on another cheaper station for that. And I know PBS, public broadcasting state, is not necessarily a good idea, but it can't be any worse than the current state of the BBC. So we bring another public broadcaster and set the BBC on its merry way as a commercial organisation, and do away altogether with adverts. Sorry, with the licence fee. If you want to watch advert-free films, go and watch satellite. The movies are there without interruption. All right, you have to put up with them beforehand. If you want to watch sport, satellite, yes, it's expensive, but it's a better product than what the BBC are putting out these days, as far as I know. I haven't watched any live television for years now. Anyway, so there's 3 solutions. 1, the NHS needs leadership, not managers. 2, rubbish. Link it back. Simple serial number on packaging. Link it all back to the person who paid the bill via their card. If there's no card involved, record the registration number during a drive-in. Yeah. And the BBC, set it free. Let it go and be a commercial organisation, not reliant on public taxpayers' money in any way, shape or form. You never know, it might get better. And a public sector broadcaster really only needs to put out documentaries, not these docudramas that are the flavour of the month. Doesn't need to put out reality TV, doesn't need anything flash, it just needs to deliver public sector broadcasting. That could be news, weather, factual programmes. Doesn't need to be expensive, doesn't need high cost, high maintenance celebrities. But then, who does? Okay, I've gone on quite enough. There'll have been some roads or drone footage behind me during all this. Hope you enjoyed that, and hope I've given some thought for solutions. And I hope that somebody, somewhere, does something about the current state of affairs. Bye for now. And remember, while in the countryside, indeed anywhere, take nothing but memories and leave nothing but tracks. Please subscribe and click that notification bell to receive notifications of all our videos.